Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Sudhendra Kulkarni, consultant endocrinologist at Fortis Hospital, Mulund and Kalyan, and Glens Clinic, Andheri. It's my pleasure to interact with you today on this topic of telemedicine and diabetes management. So, I've chosen this topic specifically in the present environment which we are in. So the present situation of the pandemic of COVID-19 is upon us, and I think it has put us all in a very challenging position. So nobody expected actually, this problem would crop up and we would be, locked out, and we would not be able to interact with each other and not be able to carry out our day-to-day activities. And also the worry and the fear of the virus and its consequent problems. So I think in this situation, connecting with one another, the only way to go about is to use the telecommunication media. And I think with the good development of technology in our country, fortunately we are able to connect with each other. So with this introduction, I would like to interact with you for about 15-20 minutes on the aspects of diabetes, COVID, and the telemedicine part. Hope this is useful to you. So as we know, diabetes is a chronic, lifelong disease or a problem which needs to be taken care of on a continuous basis. So once a patient develops diabetes, he needs to follow particular regimen guidelines and have a disciplined lifestyle. So diabetes is a problem which results in a lot of complications related to the heart, the kidney, the nerves, the foot, the eyes, etc. And these happen over a period of time, especially with the sugars not being under control. So there are many types of diabetes: type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which is the most commonest diabetes. Type 2 diabetes affects almost 80 to 90% of the diabetic patients. What we call a gestational diabetes, that is pregnancy related diabetes, and many other minor types of diabetes. The behavior of the diabetes as well as the treatment is different for such different types of diabetic patients. So generally a typical type 2 diabetic patient is somebody who is middle-aged and overweight kind of problem with maybe genetic or familial predisposition for developing diabetes, and typically he develops it in the age group of 30, 40, 50, although we are seeing younger patients developing diabetes nowadays. And with this onset of diabetes, he has to live a healthy life for the next 1 to 3 decades. So in such a situation, I would say that the diabetic patients have to try to follow a very strict and disciplined lifestyle. To a large extent, diabetes is a lifestyle disease. So diet, exercise, and stress management, these are very important aspects. Talking about dietary management, generally the advice is that patients should be cutting down on sugar in the food, sweet things have to be avoided, and carbohydrate, what we call, so carbohydrate in the form of simple sugars as well as complex carbohydrate like rice and rice products, starchy food, all of these need to be cut down. The balance of proteins and fats has to be maintained, and I think the most important thing is to take a lot of vegetables in the diet, which will add to the roughage as well as bring about satisfaction or satiety. Inclusion of fruits also is good because that supplies the nutrition, the nutrients, etc. And exercise, which is the most important part, physical activity, at least half an hour of physical activity in the form of walking, as well as stretching exercises or cardio exercises, etc., need to be done. And I think the exercise has to be kept simple. Of course, gym, etc., all these things can be done, but it should be done so that there is continuity. I think the third important aspect is sleep and stress management. Try to maintain a very strict regime of getting good amount of sleep at the right time, right quantity, as well as management of stress. So taking care of the mental stress by means of yoga, meditation, etc. And of course, the most important part, that is the medication. So fortunately, we have a lot of medication available as of today for the management of or control of our diabetic patients' sugar levels. So in the last 10 to 20 years, there has been a great explosion of treatment options. So I remember when 25 years back I was doing my training in endocrinology diabetes, the armamentarium was very limited, maybe 1 or 2 tablets and just a few injections. But I think we have at least 8 to 10 different medications, tablets, and 5 to 10 different types of injectables. So I think the options are available, and with use of all these options, one is able to get the right mix of sugar control, and the most important aspect, that is preventing the long-term complications of diabetes. So why do we fear diabetes? Is simply because the uncontrolled sugars, the high sugars over a period of time, lead to a lot of damage within the body system. So basically it can damage the eyes, leading to so many problems, and blindness is one of the major problems which diabetic patients face. Kidney failure and dialysis is also one problem which is common in diabetic patients who are not well controlled. And of course, heart problems like heart failure, heart attacks, etc., and strokes, paralysis, and foot problems, and many other complications which in the long run take a toll on the patient's quality of life. So I think with this understanding, I'm sure you'll be able to focus on your diabetes management, sugar management in a better way. So I would like to turn now to the problem of COVID-19, which is upon us. So since the last few months, the pandemic of COVID-19 has been ravaging the whole world, and India has not been spared, and Mumbai also is under the grip of this pandemic. The infection, which is transmitted from humans to humans through the droplets. So any close contact with a person who is infected is likely to result in the opposite person also getting infected. And once the virus enters into the body through the respiratory tract or any other way, it goes and starts attacking the cells. It goes into the cells and starts multiplying and sets up what we call as an inflammatory reaction, and that leads to problems, especially in the respiratory system. So the lungs get filled with these cells and leads to pneumonia and difficulty in breathing, etc. And the infections are more likely to happen if the sugar levels are not well controlled. It is not that diabetics are more likely to get infection. The risk is as equal to as the general population. But if the sugar levels are not well controlled and such a person gets the infection, the risk of complications is much higher. So I think the point is very clear here that good sugar control is going to be beneficial for the diabetic patient, because the risk of developing complications is much lesser if the sugar control is better. So I think the moral of the story is that one has to, or diabetic patients have to ensure that the sugar control is good, so that you don't land up with more complications, and even if there is an infection, chances of recovery are good. So as we said, in this era of COVID and social distancing and lockdown, the problems are plenty. So apart from trying to meet the day-to-day requirements, I think diabetic patients have problems reaching out for doctor consultation, getting medication, doing blood tests, and so on and so forth. So I think one of the ways which patients can reach out to their doctors is to take the help of the electronic media and what we call as telemedicine. So face-to-face interaction has been the most widely used way of delivering medical services. But in this era of social distancing, I think telemedicine becomes very important. And telemedicine, of course, is a very old concept. And to some extent, generally, we have been using telemedicine by way of maybe, interacting with our patients on telephone or, SMSs, WhatsApp, etc. But I think the limitations have been there. And of course, in the routine, sometimes it may not be required. But in this era of, or in this time of social distancing, I think it remains the most important way of reaching the healthcare professionals. So I think all patients should get a little hang of this telemedicine concept and try to accept it, because I think this COVID pandemic is not going to get resolved in the near term. We are still going to face more and more problems in the next few months or maybe a few years. And the safest way to get across to your doctors will be through telemedicine. So telemedicine, as I said, can be in the form of telephonic consultation, SMS, WhatsApp, or nowadays we have these apps which are available, which I think your doctors will be able to help you. I myself am using an app for my patients where we are able to get the patient's data, especially related to the sugar reports, the previous medication prescription, etc., the history of the patient, which helps to decide therapy and management in a better way. So these apps have all aspects covered. The patient simply has to log in, so there can be a video consult, there can be audio consult through the app, and they can interact with the doctor and get the prescription also written out. And of course the payment medium is also there in this. Very easy online payment options are there. So all aspects of care can be taken care of. Medical care can be availed of sitting at home, and patients can get the benefit as it would be in the normal times, in a safe and a pleasant environment. So I think a little bit of interaction with your treating doctor or your or their staff would be useful, because as I said, this lockdown opening up still remains a little uncertain, and even going ahead from the safety point of view, I think telemedicine would be a good option. And it has been practiced by many doctors, and there have been studies done to see whether this practice has been safe and effective. And studies which have been published have shown that the results are very good, and in fact the interactions can be more often. Sometimes one consultation may not clear all the doubts, then getting across to the doctor may be a challenge. But with telemedicine, there can always be contact uh, by one way or the other with the treating doctor or their staff, and lot of doubts etc. may be cleared out. So I think these are the few points which I wanted to put across to you in relation to the present day problems of COVID-19 and diabetes management, and the use of social media so that we can help you to our maximum extent. Yeah, so in case there are any queries or questions, please feel free to put them across, and I'll be very glad to uh, take them. Yeah, so hello everyone, and nice that you people have joined in this live event on Facebook, and I hope you found the points which I have raised useful. If you have any comments, questions, or doubts, please put them on the chat box. We would like to, we'll be glad to answer them. So there is one question which has come from Shutosh, and he's asking, the vaccine of COVID is not available till date, but which patients are cured from COVID? So yeah, I think as of today, any patient who develops an infection is usually admitted and kept in isolation or under observation, either in a hospital or a peripheral center, depending on the severity of the infection. And treatment is given to him. There are a lot of treatment options. Unfortunately, as the disease is a little new, there is no sure shot treatment, but a few drugs have been approved for treatment of such patients. So what we need to understand is that the chances of fatality are very less in this disease. It's not that all patients who develop infection are going to die. So I think just relax and keep in mind that the mortality rate, what we call, is very less. 1 or 2% of the patients are going to have bad outcomes. 98% would recover. As far as the vaccine is concerned, I think there is a lot of research going on. Quite a few companies have been on the forefront, and I think in the next few months we need to understand that all of this takes a little time to develop. The vaccine to be developed, and then it has to be tested for safety, efficacy, etc. in human beings, and all of this takes a little time. The results to be validated, and then it has to be mass produced and approved, and then released in the market. So I think we are looking at a time frame of at least 6 months to 1 year when the vaccine may come. Hope it comes earlier. I think that would take care of a lot of our problems. There's one more question that Junaid is asking, sir, why does the mortality rate increase in patients who are diabetic and those diagnosed with COVID? So I think this is a very good question. And earlier on we said that diabetics who are not very well controlled, those who get infection are likely to develop more complications and likely to have death. So uncontrolled diabetes affects, as we said, a lot of systems of the body, and one of them is the immune system. So the immune system is the one which helps to protect your body from infections and take care of the infections. But in diabetics, many of the aspects of the immune system are disturbed, and that's why the body is not able to fight the infection, and that leads to increased risk of death. So I think controlling diabetes is the best strategy to improve the immune system and automatically able to tackle the infection. Another question is, what is your opinion about coronavirus? Uh, uh, Sorry, I can't read it very clearly. Physical examination. So I think they are asking about the patient's physical examination. Yeah, I think in this situation, one has to be very careful. Uh, the chances of getting infection from the patients for the healthcare professionals is pretty high. So you need to take a lot of care when you are coming in touch or contact with patients who are already infected or high-risk patients. So use of PPE, personal protection equipment is very important, and all kinds of precautions which can be taken when you are in the clinic or in the hospital environment where risk of infection is very high. So use of masks and facial shields, body cover, etc. is very important. The environment also should be clean, and patients also should be encouraged to maintain good personal hygiene and keep safe distancing. So another question is how to tackle hypoglycemia in this difficult scenario. So I think if there is a change in the diet or the health of the patient, hypoglycemia is more likely to happen in such a situation. In that case, I think if the patient is conscious, of course one can give them glucose tablets or powder or jelly, whatever is available, or any sweet in any form can be given. And of course use of medication which will not cause hypoglycemia, I think that would be a good strategy. So use of more of the DPP-4 inhibitors, especially in the elderly patients, so that hypoglycemia risk is minimized. I hope that answers the question. And there's one more question which is there. In this situation, we are not able to go out for walk and gym. So how diabetic patients can maintain his fitness regime? Chetan is asking this. So I think it's a very good and a very valid question. And I would say that it is better to be safe and do whatever exercise, etc. is possible within the confines of your home. Don't go out unnecessarily and increase your risk of infection. So I would suggest that exercise regime can be carried out at home, half an hour or 45 minutes of exercise in the form of say static jogging or walking around in the house initially for 10 to 15 minutes, and some kind of stretching exercise like push-ups or sit-ups for 10 to 15 minutes, what we call as anaerobic exercise, and again about 10-15 minutes of cool-down exercise, that is again walking or cycling if you have a cycle at home, or skipping, etc. So around 45 minutes of this kind of a regime would be fair enough, and throughout the day maybe a little bit of activity all the time, 1 hour you are sitting, then maybe 10-15 minutes of going around the house doing some household work, etc. All of this would help to keep you fit in this situation where you cannot go out. I hope that answers your question. One more question is, what kind of lifestyle change should the elderly diabetic patients adopt during the lockdown period? Sorry, I think this is again a very valid question. Again, the elderly also are more likely to get confined to the house, and I think one aspect of all of this is the stress level. The mental stress levels also are going to be high. The fact that you are not able to get out of the confines of your house for a change in mood, etc., as well as the constant bad news which is hitting all of us all the time, can be demoralizing at times. So my advice again to the elderly is to be physically active, because that will help you to keep even your mind fit, and maybe indulge in some kind of mental activity which will again keep you relaxed, like music or reading some things which will keep your mood light, television, social media, etc., and trying to minimize the exposure to negative news. So some more questions are there. Amol is asking, are the risks of COVID, different from for people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes? So I think the risk here is more or less same for both the patients. I think ultimately it is all about controlling the sugar levels and keeping your metabolism healthy. If that is the end result, and then the risk of all these problems are much lesser. The small point is that type 2 diabetics are more likely to have comorbidities, especially heart problems, hypertension, etc. And in this situation, of course, the risk would be much higher compared to a type 1 diabetic, who are likely to develop more of the microvascular complications. So type 2 diabetics with their obesity, heart problems, etc., need to be more careful. Some more questions related to what is your take on herd immunity in COVID-19. Yeah, I think ultimately that is what is going to be the end point until we get a vaccine. That more and more people develop herd immunity, they are more likely to be able to face this problem in a better way. But I think that will be that will take a little time, and I think we'll get this understanding of this thing more in a better way in the longer term, because there have been cases where patients who have been infected have again had a relapse of infection and landed up with again COVID-19. So I think as time passes, all this will get more clearer. But herd immunity is a very important factor in the natural course of this diabetes. So again, the question is, how will you protect yourself in this period of lockdown? I think the best way to protect oneself is to maintain social distancing and take care of the risk of contacting the infection through the respiratory tract. So proper use of masks and shields, etc. And of course, for the healthcare professionals who are at very high risk, use of PPEs and following the guidelines is what is advised. So question is, what are the do's and don'ts for patients during this pandemic? I think very simple tips would be to again maintain social distancing. For the diabetic patient, I think you need to double up on your sugar control. Medication, I think, is very important. Some patients tend to miss their medication, and that would make the sugar go up and down. So regular medication, keep a good stock of the medication, and try to check the sugar level so that you know where you stand. So again, the next question is it safe to go to the lab for sugar checkup? So if you don't have a glucometer, I think that is the only way to know what is the sugar level. But if you have a glucometer at home, I think in this present environment, one need not go to the lab. You can check your sugar level at home itself and make an assessment as to what is the sugar status. And of course, if it is not in control, then you need to get in touch with your doctor or the clinic and get it sorted out. So the next question is, how much COVID-19 affects the diabetic patient? So again, as I said, diabetics are more or not more likely to get the infection. It's not that diabetes is a risk factor for getting the infection, but the other way around is that if a diabetic gets infected, or if he develops the infection here, then the risk is much higher. Risk of developing complications, mortality is much higher. So the moral of the story or the take-home message is that control your diabetes properly, so that in case you develop infection, your chances of recovery from the infection is much higher, unlike a person who may not recover if his infection, the sugar control is bad and he has a lot of complications. I hope all of this answers your questions, and thank you very much for making it interactive. I hope the take-home messages for diabetic patients, which I would like to convey in the end, is that don't fear that because you are a diabetic, you are likely to contact the infection. But if you keep your sugar levels under control, even if you get infected, you will recover faster. So make sure that you take your medicines regularly. Try to check your sugar levels at home or in the lab. Take control of your diet in this challenging environment. Try to do exercise at home. Manage your mental stress levels. Try to find a way out to release your stress. And keep a list of all contacts of your doctors, hospitals, and near and dear ones, especially if you are staying alone, so that in case you need any emergency help, it is handy. I hope and wish that all of you have a good and healthy life in this pandemic, and I'm sure we'll be able to fight it out and come out as winners. Thank you very much.